Well, hello, you wonderful mother truckers, and welcome to the Inn of Corrections. So, you might have seen I did another video earlier where we were talking about their peers are demanding that we stand up and take up arms to protect this wonderful, wonderful country. Well, there's another little bit of to add on to that, because, let's just listen. In any case, this was on GB News, as you can see. And when it says here, Lt.Colonel Stuart Crawford, fucking Rupert, when the bombs are being dropped on London or missiles crossing the Channel, people will have a completely different perspective. No, because they'll be dead. But in any case, Lt. Colonel Stuart Crawford believes Young will step up and defend Britain if push comes to shove. No, they won't. But in any case, let's just listen. And remembering that this is fair usage, YouTube, but I will probably interject to what he had to say.
The fact of the matter is, if people aren't volunteering, if the conscription process is so woeful, which we know it is, and by the way, they should probably think about stop having a go at white working class men who historically have been the most likely to take up arms and defend their country.
You see what I mean? You're going to pay the price for calling us all far right. You really are.
Look at Rishi Sunak's doomed national service scheme. That has 65% approval rating against it from those aged 18 to 24. They're the ones.
You see, age 18 to 24, they're a waste of space. They're a waste of time. And that's because of the education system and the fact that they've been told that their feelings matter. And they're that confused what gender they are this minute. And all about the pronouns and all this. So, young kids... A, their minds are so screwed up with all the crap that's coming out. And B, why would you defend this? Why would you defend us?
Ones will be expected to go up the ladder first, not some dusty old fossils in the Lords.
Well, that's what I think the populist or popular concept might be. But I am reminded that in the 1930s, the Oxford Union, the speaking union, passed a motion saying that this house would not fight for king and country. And a few years later, they were either all dead or in prisoner of war camps. So
subtle, but you can't compare what happened in 1930 to what's happening now, can you?
Well, I think that it's easy to say such things in the abstract. But when bombs are being dropped in London or Liverpool or Glasgow or wherever, or missiles are crossing the Channel, or boats are being sunk in the North Sea and the North Atlantic, I think people have a completely different perspective. I have no doubt that today's younger generation, if it came to it, if push came to shove, would step up to the plate. And I'm confident that those are the sort of people that we have to rely on in the future.
We're absolutely screwed. Genuinely, we're screwed. I'm also completely and utterly stunned. Well, I'm not actually. We all know lieutenant colonels didn't know what they were doing. They just pounced around in helicopters and barked out orders and pretended they knew what they were doing, but they had no idea. In fact... let's see if we can find out what Mr. Crawford, Lieutenant Colonel Stuart's military record is. We've got something to come up. So let's just pop it up as it comes. As you know, like I am, I'm never predisposed for these things. I just get on with them and do them and bring them to you as they are. So So he was in the Gulf War. Oh, so he was same. Okay. So, and this guy's conflict veteran Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Crawford recorded stationed in the HQ British Forces Middle East working on night shift. Right. So basically, he was in the tank command, but he never left his tent miles away from anywhere. So this is very, very true. Over the period of August 1990 to February 1991, over 50,000 service personnel were deployed in Saudi Arabia and Iraq, which is correct. Very dusty place as far as I remember. A figure that the Britain could not aspire to today. We had 2 armoured brigades. No, I don't want to subscribe. Go away. 2 armoured brigades in theatre, the 4th and the 7th. I was attached to the 7th. Who between them fielded 221 Challenger 2 tanks, including spares and reserves. Yeah, okay. Nowadays, we'd be hard-pressed to fill one armour grade without 50 tanks. Be even harder now, because we've shipped an awful lot of artillery, etc., over to the Ukraine. With war once again happening in Europe, which we created, but and a new but belated interest in the state of British armed services, nothing shows the dire straits that our army has been better than this dramatic fall from grace and reduction in capability, which has been going on for years. And don't just think, oh, it was a Conservative over 14 years. It's been going not long after. Remember that an awful lot of soldiers were actually kicked out of the army after 1991. So, that it started after we'd been busy doing our job for King, Queen and country then. The blame lies squarely at the door of our politicians over the past 2 decades. There you go. None of them who've really got defence, plus a succession of weak military leaders memorised by playing soldiers in far-off sandy places like Afghanistan and Iraq. They completely took their eye off the ball in Europe, and now they're desperately trying to play catch, and we've left it far too late. So there you go. He's a defence analyst and former army officer, and he works on the Defence Review. So he talks a good game, and he knows what in one respect, but the simple truth of the matter is he really genuinely believes that if the push comes to shove, young kids would jump to the defence of this great country, or once great country. To shatter the illusion, no, you won't. The only way you can do it is drafting them. Conscription. And conscription never works very well, because what you do then is you get a bunch of highly unmotivated people and you're just throwing them into the meat grinder. But it's the arrogance. Oh, well, no, it'll be fine. I mean, they're like, hey, now when bombers are dropping on London, yeah, because we've got no air defence, have we? Which is why Royal Navy ships are now being retrofitted as missile ships to intercept missiles and planes. Because we've got nothing. Anything that we did have is either way too old, no longer works, or in fact has got no one to use it. And if any of that's there, what we did have, which was spares and that, we've shipped over to Ukraine to put us even worse. I've done a video way back, and I know some people think, Amy, you've only been doing it. No, I've been doing it way before the election when I was having to go at the Conservatives, whereas our Royal Fleet Auxiliary haven't got enough crew to go on ships. I've done another one where I've listed all the ships that are now no longer, they're just sitting empty because we haven't got the crews for them. We've got an RAF that's now desperate for pilots after being institutionally racist against white guys. As I've mentioned in the previous video about this, is the fact that all the Army adverts and all the Navy adverts and all the Air Force adverts were ethnic minorities and women, mainly women. And now all of a sudden, you've noticed that they've all changed. Now it's all white and black men, because they're the only ones who actually do the fighting, because this DEI hiring has failed. It's not down to weak leaders memorising playing soldiers off in sandy places like Afghanistan and Iraq. They go where they're told. The simple truth of the matter is, you handed our recruitment out of the military and to some bunch of idiots sat in an office that know nothing. Absolutely nothing. Then you just look at why the hell would you want to defend? Remembering that a large chunk of this country now, young people, whilst living here, don't even see this as their country. They see it as a place that needs to be eradicated. History has to be changed. It has to be taken over and assimilated to their beliefs. They're not going to... I saw them all in the Birmingham riots up the road. They ain't interested in defending this country. They're interested in taking it over and turning it in, as it slowly is. Go up to Birmingham up the road, which, when I was a kid, was a wonderful place. Now it literally is a third world shithole. I genuinely feel like I'd be much safer driving through there with body armour in a Humvee with a 50 cal on the roof than anything else. You have imported far too many people, and first, second, or even third generation still identify themselves as the third world shithole that they came from. They don't see it as this is their country, so they're not going to defend it. We are in shit straits because of dickheads like you, Lt.Colonel. Oh, no, they'll all jump to it. The other difference is when the bombs and the missiles start landing here, Yeah, it'll escalate very, very quickly to the big missiles that it'll all be over. Because you are all determined to push for a war because it suits you and you can make money out of it. So, yeah, please come and be cannon fodder and die for the country that calls you far right, imprisons you for an opinion, that hates you, that wants you to be defending a country that is willing to freeze your nanny and granddad to death to save 1.5 billion while sending 5 billion to the war that you're now going to be sent to fighting because of exactly. Any case, I'm done with that. Some videos popping up over there on the side here. Some other stuff that I've done. Down below, logo, click. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. If you agree with what I'm having to say, just feel free to subscribe. Please thumb up the channel. It all helps the algorithm. With that, I'm done. So, until the next one.